Hello folks. So in this video I'm going to try to actually debug a problem that I noticed. So basically I'm trying to work with this thing called YACE, which is short for, it's the full short form is YACE, YACE. It is short for yet another CloudWatch exporter. So this is um, a software that people use in the context of Prometheus, in the context of observability and monitoring. So they use this when they're using AWS and they're using AWS CloudWatch. Anywhere you're using AWS, you will have some basic AWS CloudWatch metrics. So if you want to export those CloudWatch metrics and push them into Prometheus, or basically let Prometheus pull them from the CloudWatch, you basically use this exporter. Okay? So this exporter talks to CloudWatch, AWS CloudWatch using AWS APIs, AWS CloudWatch APIs, and then gives that data or exposes that data on a endpoint, say a metrics endpoint, and then Prometheus that's just pulls from that endpoint. So this exports the data and Prometheus imports or like pulls the data. So the thing I've been noticing is I'm actually not getting the data when I actually use filters, more like tags. So for example, I've been wanting to use this to get EBS metrics. So for example, metrics like this, right? The problem comes up when I actually try to, for example, this is one example. Here I'm not using tags though. So I am using tags here. So something to check out. So basically tags is where the problem comes up. Whenever I use a tag, I'm not able to get the data. So is there a tag here? Yeah, there is a tag here also. When I don't use any tags, all the data comes up, yes. But when I use tags, it says no metrics found, right? So for example, these are some cases where I use tags and then nothing comes up, right? So I've been trying to get AWS EBS volume metrics, so elastic block storage. So if you actually look at just a minute. If you actually look at AWS, you'll actually notice that there is this documentation which talks about AWS services that publish CloudWatch metrics, and here you'll notice that EBS is there, and so here you can click that and you'll notice what all metrics are actually given for EBS. So for example, you'll notice that the dimensions are volume ID and instance ID. So then you can use that in your dimensions. I think here I didn't mention the dimensions, but you can mention the dimensions if you want. So at least you'll know what kind of dimensions you're expecting, right? For different metrics. So and then what kind of statistics you can apply on it. So in this case, I'm trying to get this metric called volume IOPS exceeded and then volume throughput exceeded. So this is just a 0 or 1 value, so it doesn't make sense to get an average or sum and all. Either get maximum, which is 1, or the minimum, which is 0. So I think if it is always 0, then the maximum will be 0. If it is 1 anywhere, then it will be 1, and we want the data when it is 1, because if it is 1, then it's a problem, because it means that the input output operations per second exceeded, and hence there'll be a problem. Same for throughput exceeded, right? So this we are checking every 300 seconds, which is every 5 minutes. So the thing is now, when I use search tags, I just get no metrics found, which is actually a message, that no metrics data found, right? So this is the message that you'll find in your logs. So for example, in custom jobs, this is the custom job, this is a discovery job, this is scraper job. So basically, this is the log that I'm getting. So I'm currently using discovery, right? There are other kinds of jobs also. So I think there are static jobs and all. So instead of discovery, so here you're defining jobs that automatically discovers AWS resources and scrape their CloudWatch metrics, right? So for example, static would be, I think you will specifically mention something about it. For example, the Amazon resource name, which is very specific. Let me actually go ahead and check out static stuff, right? Static job. Okay, I need to actually get config examples. Let me see if I can find something. So DS, okay. What about ALB? This is discovery, backup, discovery. All of it is discovery. Interesting. There's no static, is it? Yeah, this is a static job actually. You can see. Weirdly, they have put a extra space in it. This is a static job where you mention the name, and you mention the namespace, right? And you mention the metrics and regions. So this is one example. This is a discovery. All of it is discovery over here. I think we can mention a mix of these also. Anyways, I think what I'll do is I'll just look for this. Maybe I'll look for this. Oops. Static. So colon. So static job, it looks like this. Dimensions. So dimensions you can mention by looking at these things: volume ID, instance ID, right? So here this is auto scaling related stuff metrics. So auto scaling group name, and then value is test. Okay. And custom tags. So this is the change log though. So configuration for jobs of type static, custom of type custom namespace, auto discovery, right? So at least one of the following blocks must be different. So you can mention more than one though. And you can actually see how name and stuff must be set and all that. So anyways, I'm trying to do only discovery and I'm trying to use search tags. I wonder what custom tags is all about, but anyways, so the thing is, what I'm getting is, let me go ahead. Okay, I have a lot of tabs open. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and close. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and close all of these. I'm just gonna say, yeah, no metrics found, data found. So here, what I'm gonna do is just a minute. Let's say. I don't want the search history. Cool. So stay in the call. Okay, so basically I'm getting this in the discovery thing, right? In the discovery job. Let me see how this runs basically. So this is a Golang code, and I think I've enabled Golang here, yes. Right, so we notice that, let me just make it bigger, okay, a bit more bigger, okay. Cool. So this no metrics data found comes up when you have the get metrics data to be 0. So this is what it calls, and this, it calls its context, a logger, the job itself, the service, it's the namespace, which is like AWS slash, I think support services, you'll have AWS slash EBS, right? So yeah, dimensions, okay. So you will have get service, which gets the service namespace. Okay, so okay, service configs, it goes through service. I don't know what this is. SF, I think. Not sure. I don't know why they called it SF. You could have just called it SC itself, service configs, SCS, and anyways, by alias. Okay, so there is an alias also. Okay, and get service. Okay. Anyways, so finally, client CloudWatch. So this is the AWS API client, I believe. Resources. Okay. So get resources, and then for these resources get metrics data frame. So if the thing is 0, no metrics data found. Okay. For queries, and then okay, so interesting. So I think it doesn't even get the metrics for some reason. So let me go ahead and check this out. So it says get metrics data, and then it runs this, right? Interestingly, this is getting overridden. So it says run GMD processor get metrics data processor, and runs this, and then failed to get metric data. Okay, it doesn't even get the data. So it says no metrics data found. Okay, so get metrics data. So context and everything. Okay, so dimensions expressions is dimensions regular expressions is greater than 0. Is greater than 0, then okay. Finally, discovery job dot metrics. Just a minute. So job metrics. Okay, so basically they need metrics. Okay, so these are the metrics that we have. Okay, this is an example basically. Discovery.jobs.metrics. Okay, metrics. Okay, this is basically the discovery job itself, which has the metrics. Okay, so now discovery jobs, static jobs, and then custom jobs, I guess, boys. Custom nature jobs. Okay, and I think STS is a security token. So anyways, so in the discovery job you have the jobs. So I don't know where they store this. They probably store it, export it here only. So the jobs, the regions, it has the different regions. There are probably multiple discovery jobs. So discovery and then jobs. These are all discovery jobs, and this one will be there for everything, I guess. So regions, types, search tags. Okay, is regions type is basically the namespace, I think. Yeah, namespace, and then tags, search tags, custom tags, and all that. Okay, so for some reason here it says max dimension associator, I guess. So new associator. Okay, And associator, okay. Best effort algorithm to automatically map the output of the list matrix API to the list of resources directory and the tagging it. The core logic is based on manually maintained list of regexes that extract dimensions names from ARNs. Auto discovery for those AWS names, ARN character define. Okay. Something is going wrong over here around this crazy thing. There are no errors that I can see, yes. I think for some reason, list metrics, get metrics data. I think I need to start putting some logs basically to be able to say what is going on, and then create a Docker container because I'm running in Kubernetes cluster, so using containers, so and it is all AMD 64 Linux. So I need to actually interesting how they've mentioned it twice here. So I need to actually build the container for AMD 64. So yeah, and expose user nobody and all that. Okay. So okay. Okay, so the thing is, I think the problem here is somehow the data is not coming from here. This is basically empty. This is an empty array. Initially it's empty, and later also it's empty. It's supposed to have some data, CloudWatch data. Supposed to be like the metric name and all that. So when I don't give search tags, there's no problem. But when I give search tags, there's a problem. Okay. So discovery job. Is there anywhere where they use the search tags basically? Metrics. Okay. There should be 2 of them, and wait for those. Okay. So and then there's a function. So go execute this function independently, and then basically with this metric call this wait group done once it's done. Okay, so given this metric, this is the metric, okay, which has the name, statistics and period. In my case, name, statistics and period, no length, no delay, nil to 0. Okay, so you give this metric, and here what happens is you give the metric and fail to get full metric list, metric name, namespace. There was no such error. Weird thing is it get filtered metrics data. Okay. I think this is where the problem happens. List metrics, and then I think this takes up a function at the end, page, and basically append stuff. I think it's based on some pagination or something. So metric config, get filtered metric data, takes up a page. So 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth to 4 metrics list. Okay. So recently active only metric namespace peak implementations. So these people always have two versions. One is V1, one is V2, where they use CloudWatch V1, API, and CloudWatch V2 API. Anywhere they have two versions of AWS APIs, they have actually accordingly the implementation. So you can actually see that there is package clients CloudWatch V2 and then V1. So accordingly, one will get used up, I think. There's a lot of V1, V2 going on here. You'll notice that a lot. So you'll actually see there's a Go SDK, so SDK, and it'll actually be having, it'll have, this is all V1. And if you go to V2 slash and say factory, for example, you'll notice that there is version 2 of Go being used, which is dependent on version 2 of AWS. So yeah, API. So I don't know for what reason people would use older versions of the API and older versions of the client, but anyways. Now, okay, so you need to check why this is getting empty. Is there anywhere where they use the tag, search tag, metrics list? I think I didn't mention the dimension names. 0 and 0, okay. There's no dimension name that's mentioned. If the dimension list is 0, greater than 0, and if it's match names, dimension names, so dimension requirements is not equal to this, then return false. Okay, and then dimensions, found match, okay. Or this given dimension, go through dimension is here, found match. If not found match, then return false. Or else return true, okay, makes sense. So only if the dimension name list is there. If it's not there, then associate metric to resource, okay. So metric dimensions, and then global append tags, metric tags, returns a list of tags built from the tags of characters is not empty. Tags have as key the key from examiner and is the value corresponding to there if it exists, otherwise interesting. Okay. I need to understand probably what this exported tags on metrics. Okay, this is basically just extra name. The name tag is extra on the thing, I believe. So metric tags, statistics. So that's weird. If this is of size 0, then this will be of size 0, I think, because I don't see any other scenario where this will lead to an empty thing, right? Get matrix data is used here, If there are no statistics, if there's even one statistic, it will come in, but there should be metrics, right? I think that's where the problem is happening. So this is not coming up, I think. So there's no appending happening, and it's just done, right? So list metrics. I think I'll have to see where the search tags are used. Search tags. Is this causing any problems? Is the question. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and like check out first of all like currently what is happening when you give search tags and then when you don't give search tags again once, and then start putting logs here and then see how it works. So let me pause for a moment. So let's see CloudWatch. So I'm gonna look for the pod that says CloudWatch, and okay, so that's the one. So it has a big name. That's why it's actually the name has been cut. If you see, the deployment has a big name, and the replica set also has a big name, I think. Yeah, so those are the replica sets. Yep. Anyways, so now I think what I'm gonna do is just look at the logs of this for now. Maybe I'll just do deployment / this. I'll probably restart this once. So here you can actually see it says no metrics data found, version, custom build, and job type is this, and all this, right? So now I'm gonna actually try to see if I can actually get the config map for the CloudWatch, and maybe I'll edit it. So okay, so here I'm gonna actually do one thing, which is remove these search tags, right? I'm gonna see if it works out, right? So for example, just think this will be enough. I mean, in YAML, I think these are comments. So yeah, and just remove that. And with that, I can actually just do a rollout restart of the deployment that I have. Let me just check the pods. CloudWatch. So it is running, the new one is running. So let me see if I can find the logs over here. So now if I actually export the dev config, and if I just port forward the service and look at the data, forward service slash 80:80:80. So I think I should see, yep, and I should see the metrics. Yep, there's a lot of metrics, right? I don't want to show the metrics. The thing is, just let me pause for a moment. Okay, so the thing is, I wanted to get this particular data, right? So this you can see over here is actually the data. Toggle word wrap. This is the data that I wanted to get. So here you can actually see that I'm trying to get the data with the PVC name tag as this. The interesting thing is, you will notice that the label is actually, like, the Prometheus label says tag underscore PVC underscore name, an extra prefix named as tag, right? And so now and you can actually see that the CSI volume is also there. It's just that only this is not coming up for some reason, right? Now only when you say exported tags on metrics, right? So maybe let's remove that once. So let's remove this once, and let's see how that goes. Rollout, restart. This should disconnect from here. So it is running. Maybe if I connect, it will come up. So if I just do this, it will stop because it's not able to connect. And if I do this now, there'll be fewer things, I guess, because I just said this. So I removed this also, the name. So it's just discovery jobs. And now if I check out the AWS info, let me look at this one. Interestingly, it does still show a lot of things. Now, interesting. Exported tags on metrics, okay. Name. So here, let me just get this. Is it the same thing as this? Yes, it is the same thing. Interesting. Okay. Interesting that the name, I expected it to be different. Anyways, I think I'll just restart once more. Okay. it doesn't change much really. It doesn't really change. So then the question is, I want to understand what went wrong then. Like basically, if I remove this, does this come up in the discovery or inside the job? Maybe this comes inside the job. I think this is probably wrong. Let me see the configuration. Exported. So here you can actually see how you mention the explorer tags over here and then mention the jobs, right? So, and then you can actually see here over here also how it's mentioned. So I don't think there's a problem over here. And then search tags config is mentioned here, yes. It's clear over here that in jobs you just mention the search tags and you're done, right? There's no other extra data over here. The problem I think is now, why is it not working out? So I used to get AWS EBS info. I used to get this before also. So I used to get a lot of this, okay. And every time I think it was this long. I wonder what went wrong though. I think I have to basically start logging things here to see what went wrong here. So clearly it didn't get any data over here, or it didn't even call this. This didn't even get called. So need to understand why this did, because if it even got called, it would have put some data here, but no, it didn't get called. Like nothing happened here. What is this? Recent activity only. Points. Okay. Namespace is metric. And once this is done, if it's empty, then just no tags. So what about this? Basically you say for resources, okay, else no op associated, okay. And in resources you basically noticed, interesting, resources is used only over here. So in my case the resources is there, tagged resource, okay. Doesn't say anything over here. There's no tagged resource though, so it does get the resources made it through filtering. I think these come out only for debugging, get tagged resource. I think we need to start looking at the debug logs also, because let me see how I can actually do debug. I think I've built this before. Yes. Debug log level only the format JSON. Okay, so debug, so I'll just use debug over here, log format, and yeah, log level is debug. Okay, so let me just go ahead and do that first. So edit deployment, containers. Okay, so here I can say log.level debug. Okay, so let me do that. And get some debug logs. That's a lot of data. Okay, save completed. Okay, now if I just do this, it'll do one more script, I think. Okay, it doesn't do any script. Okay, so instead of this, now if I actually edit this config map to say something like along with these search tags, and then rollout restart, and then get for this logs, basically says metric scrape, yes, initial scrape is done. So it says I should have checked the debug logs before instead of putting my own logs stuff on there. So there is some data around. I think okay, that's a lot of data. Okay, so after the editings, we've seen this. Skipping resource because search tags do not match. Okay, a lot of it has come out. Okay, so what is this whole thing about? This one, there's no data right over here. So skipping resource. Okay, this is coming from this, right? So it says skipping resource because search tags do not match in an ARN. Same thing over here. I think I'm using v2, not sure though. But basically this resource filter through tags goes in. Basically this get resources is called, right? And then if the resource is 0, no tagged resources comes up, right? Made it through filtering. This didn't happen. So couldn't describe resources. Okay. Something went wrong somewhere. No metrics. Data found. Hmm. Unmatched by associator. Resource not matched. Just a minute. So, interestingly, it does scrape but doesn't give any data though. I'm just gonna spend some time to just read through this and then understand what went wrong and then explain it in a video. For now, I'm just gonna go ahead and read through the logs. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Or maybe I'll just continue this one, but I'll continue on the next one.